Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Spider, and welcome back to another review. And today I'm going to be taking a look at the Bandai Creation 60th Anniversary 2001 King Ghidorah. This figure released back in 2014, and based on their appearance from the film Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack, which is more than a mouthful, which is why most people just abbreviate it to the first initial of the three monsters, GMK. So, if you've ever seen that abbreviation and you don't know what it means, now you do. Anywho, start of this review, we're going to take a look at the packaging. So let's get to that. Alright, here we have the box, even though it's not really a box, but I'm going to call it a box anyways. You got a nice picture of Godzilla in the background. You got Godzilla in Japanese, and you got a city probably being destroyed. And you got Godzilla in big, bold silver letters. You got the 60th anniversary. You got Godzilla on the side, you got Godzilla on the other side, you got the back of the box with another Godzilla. You got King Ghidorah there, and then you got the 54 Godzilla, which we actually reviewed last week. You got another 60th anniversary thing. You got little character trademarks, which are pretty dang cool. Wish they would put those things on there more often, because, I don't know, to me they're nice to look at. You got the bottom of the box with pretty much nothing. You got the top of the box with also pretty much nothing. And that's it for the box. So, yeah. On to this guy. Okay, here we have King Ghidorah. Sometimes nicknamed Guardian Ghidorah by fans. Because this version of the character is actually a good guy. Yeah, believe it or not, but this Ghidorah is the hero of the movie they're from. It's so bizarre. It's also, I'm pretty sure, the only time that's ever happened. Unless you count stuff like Mecha King Ghidorah, but that's kind of a separate entity if you think about it. But anyways, let's move on to the articulation. So focus in there a little bit. Brighten up the camera a little bit. It's got nothing at the heads or the necks, but the wings can rotate all the way around if you so wished. There's nothing at the legs, but the tail can move. So you can put it down like that. You can kind of move it up. You can also get the wing out of the way. Hey. You can also move it forward like that, which is actually how it comes packaged. If you wanted to do that. I don't know why you would, but you can. I don't know, maybe it'll be more convenient on the shelf. I have no idea. But anyways, that is it for the packaging. So, honestly, kind of limited. Even for a Bandai Creations figure. It's like, I don't know, wish they could have given him more. Like maybe give him leg articulation? I mean, most other Bandai Godzilla figures do, so I don't know why they didn't give it to this guy. I also kind of wish that maybe they gave him, like, a rotation at the head so it can at least, like, turn. Give a little more movement there. Especially since this is actually a retool of an older figure from 2005. And it's like, you mean to tell me they did a lot of remold on this thing. So they went through all that effort, but they didn't bother to give it any more articulation than it had in 2005. Like, I don't know. I feel like they could have done more with the figure in that regard. But, anyways, that is pretty much it for articulation. And before we move on to the details, there's a bit of trivia I wanted to mention about this guy. And that is regarding the heads. So you see the heads here. The heads have a very unique look to them in comparison to other Ghidorahs. And that is because in the original version of the movie this guy comes from, Godzilla was supposed to face off against Baragon, Anguirus, and Varan. However, Toho requested that they replace some of the monsters with more popular ones like Mothra and King Ghidorah. But the suit designer decided that because King Ghidorah was taking the place of Varan, that they would model their head after Varan. So yeah, I mean, it's not super obvious on the toy, but if you look at the actual suit, you can see that there are some Varan characteristics on it. So, that's a neat little bit of trivia that I thought I'd mention. But with that out of the way, on to the details. We'll bring up the camera a little bit here. So we got the little Ghidorah heads. You got the little teeth, which are not individually sculpted, but they are molded and painted. So that's nice. You got the nice red eyes with little black people. You got the horns. Although the middle horn is kind of like really small. I don't know why. You also have the side frill, which is just kind of molded into the side of the head. Don't really like that, which they molded that differently. You get the two side heads, which are pretty much the same, but then you have the middle head, which their mouth is closed. Speaking of the mouth, you can see there's quite a bit of pink there, which I kind of wish that they removed some of that, because like the teeth stop there, and then the pink just continues onward. It's like, it just doesn't look that great. So I wish, it makes them look very gummy, and it's not a good look for King Ghidorah. But anyways, moving down the head, you have the nice plated scales on the front of the necks, which always look very nice and satisfying. Then you have the regular scales going down the chest and onto the wings, and you have the scales that kind of fade into the more smooth part of the wing, which is actually accurate to its on-screen appearance. You get these little, like, I don't know what these things are called. I'm not very familiar with wing biology, but you got those bits. Cool. And then you got the membrane of the wing, which is just nice and smooth. But that's how it looks in the movie. You got more scales going down the legs. Then you got the more chicken-like foot design, which I really don't really know why they went for that look in the movie. It's kind of odd, but they did, and the toy replicates it. You got its little heel claws, which actually some of the heel claws are kind of pointy. Yeah, some of the other pointy bits are more muted and just kind of more rounded off, but these bits are a little spiky. I like that. You get the back of the figure with some nice spikiness. More of the scales. Get the back of the wings, which are still fully sculpted. Quite nice. You get the tail, which starts off as one bit and then goes into the two, which is how it actually looks in the movie. And you get the scales, which even continue on to the very, very tips of the tails. And both sides of both tails are sculpted all the way, which is very nice. You get the bottom of the figure. And again, all the scales are still sculpted on the tails, which is very nice. So yeah, he's got quite a bit of details. And they all look very, very nice. I also love the shade of gold that they chose for this figure. It looks quite nice, especially when you get it to shine in the light just right. Makes them look very, very shiny, nice and golden. Quite nice. So overall, it does a pretty good job. I don't know why I'm spinning it. It does a pretty good job of replicating its appearance from the film. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say about this mold. However, before we move on to the size comparisons, I thought I would compare it with the older version, because as I mentioned earlier, this is a retool of an older GMK Ghidorah from 2005, and I technically have that figure. I'll show what I mean by a second. Here it is. Yeah, this is what I mean by I technically have it. I own it, but it is not in good condition at all. Oh, wait, by the way, random bit of advice. If you are a kid and you like to play with your toys out in your backyard, and your backyard has long grass, don't leave your figures in that long grass, because your dad will go to mow that grass and probably won't see the figure. Just a random bit of advice. Nothing to do with what you're looking at right now. Anywho, so yeah, this was the original mold. You can kind of see the differences on it. For starters, the tail is different. On the original, stuck straight out, whereas in this one, it curves inward. And then you have the wings, which are positioned differently. you can see on the older one, they were more just kind of on the side. But here, they're more angled on the back and at this very strange angle. I kind of don't like it. I prefer the more normal look of the original one, because on this one, when you have the wings displayed straight up and down, like, he looks pretty cool. He's got his wings all splayed out, and it looks cool. But on this version, if you put the wings straight up and down, he looks like that. It's like, what pose is that? It looks weird. The only way to make him look kind of decent is if you angle the wings like that, and it's just, I don't really want to do that. I like him when he looks like this. So there's a mold change that I just don't really care for. So yeah, I kind of prefer the older one, but mine got messed up. So I got this guy to replace him. And while I do prefer the older mold, this one's still good. I do like him. Alrighty, with all that out of the way, we shall move on to the size comparisons. And to start off the size comparisons, as always, here it is with a LEGO minifigure. With the Pack of Destruction minifigure Mothra. With the Pack of Destruction minifigure Godzilla. Here it is with the Bandai Creations Chibi King Ghidorah. Here it is with the Jakks Pacific Kings Collide Godzilla and Rodan. Here it is with the Bandai Creations Showa Gigan. Because they're buddies. Well, at least they were in a previous life. Anywho. Here it is with the 1968 Godzilla. Here it is with the Bandai Godzilla 2000 Godzilla. And finally, here it is with the previous review and its wavemate, the 1954 Godzilla from 2014. And as you can see with pretty much all the Godzillas, Ghidorah is kind of the same height with them. And that's actually accurate for this version, because they made Ghidorah quite a bit smaller in this incarnation, so that Godzilla would be bigger, because he was the villain, so they wanted him to be big and imposing and all that. So that's why they made him smaller. Alrighty, now that we're done with all that, it's measuring time! So let's get out the measuring tape and measure this guy. So we're going by the middle head, and almost about 6.5 inches. So, pretty decent height. Pretty decent. Ooh, that's a little bright. So yeah, and overall, the figure is pretty decent, you know? It's not terrible, but it's not quite great. It's just, you know, it's pretty decent. It's a decent figure. It's also probably a more easier accessible one. Or at least it was for a while. I guess now Bandai is kind of up in their game and releasing a lot more figures now. So maybe there are other versions of Ghidorah that are easier to find in this one. But if you did want this figure on eBay, it's going for around, actually it's going for over $40, which, yeah, now that ain't worth it. I wouldn't pay more than $25 maybe for this figure. I mean, for crying out loud, I only got mine for $15. You can actually see on the packaging. Still got the price tag. So I only paid 15 bucks for this thing at Toys R Us. Yeah. Poor Toys R Us. Y'all remember when that was a thing? Yeah. What a shame. Unless you're in Canada, in which case you still have Toys R Us. You lucky sons of guns. But anyways, so yeah, the figure is a little expensive on the aftermarket, but there was a reissue in 2019, so maybe that one's cheaper. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. Hope you all enjoyed, and if any of you are curious to watch the movie that this guy is from, it's actually free to watch right now on Tubi TV. So yeah, I actually do recommend watching it. It's a pretty good film. As bizarre as it is, having Ghidorah be the good guy, it's actually pretty good. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. But that's all I have to say for this figure and for this review. So see you later. Sayonara, and bye.